All right. Every year, the State of AI report drops, and it's pretty much the one thing everyone in tech stops what they're doing to read. Today, we're going to dive into the 2025 edition, and let me tell you, the story it tells is, well, it's about a massive transformation.
This right here is the single biggest takeaway from the entire report. It's a huge claim, right? But as we're about to see, the data is showing that we've blown past the science project phase and are now smack in the middle of an era of mass adoption and serious, real-world impact. This isn't some future prediction. It's happening right now.
And here's the proof. I mean, just look at this. The report surveyed over 1,200 people working in the field, and the result is just staggering. 95% of them are now using AI either at work or at home. It's not a niche tool anymore. It's as common as sending an email. This is exactly what mainstream looks like.
So you gotta ask, what's powering this whole industrial revolution? What's the core technology that's making all of this possible? Well, the report argues it really comes down to one key breakthrough that has totally changed what these AI models can actually do.
The big word for this year is reasoning. Think of it this way. The older AI, it was kind of like a superpowered search engine. It could find an answer for you. But an AI with reasoning, you can give it a complex problem and it can figure out a plan, try stuff, see what doesn't work, and then actually adjust its approach. It's really the difference between a calculator and a genuine problem solver.
And this isn't just theory, you know? We're already seeing it out in the wild. AI is becoming a collaborator for scientists, coming up with its own hypotheses and testing them. And in robotics, this kind of structured reasoning is letting machines interact with the physical world in ways that are just way more sophisticated than before.
Which brings us to this idea of chain of action planning, especially for robots. It sounds complicated, but it's really not. The AI looks at a goal, say, make a cup of coffee. It then breaks that down into all the little steps. Find the mug, get the coffee, pour the water, and then it just executes that plan in the real world. It's how a robot learns to do complex things, pretty much the same way we do. Okay, so we've got a smarter engine. It's more capable. What does that actually mean for the economy? The report makes it super clear. The impact on business hasn't just arrived, it has hit the accelerator, hard. AI is officially out of the lab and is now a huge factor for the bottom line.
And that acceleration is just wow. Look at this. In 2023, only about 5% of businesses in the US were actually paying for AI tools. Fast forward 1 year, and that number has exploded to 44%. That is a massive, massive shift from just playing around with it to making serious paid investments. And we're not talking about small software subscriptions here. The average contract size for these tools is over $500,000. That tells you that companies are making huge strategic bets. They are going all in on AI to transform how they operate.
And is that bet paying off? Well, yeah. The report found that startups that are built on AI from day one are growing 1.5 times faster than companies that aren't. That right there is the competitive advantage of this new industrial AI era.
Now, of course, this whole revolution isn't just happening in a bubble. All these rapid advances in tech and business are creating a brand new geopolitical arena. Now nations are all competing for dominance in this incredibly critical new field.
So at the very, very top, the absolute cutting edge, OpenAI does still have a lead. But the key word here is narrow. That lead is shrinking, and it's shrinking fast because the global competition is just heating up like crazy. The race is getting really, really tight.
And the report is really direct about who's closing that gap: China. A credible number 2 has absolutely emerged. We're talking about models like DeepSeek, Qwen, and Kimi. And they are showing incredibly strong performance, especially in those key new areas we just talked about, reasoning and coding. This is a fundamental shift in the whole global AI landscape, and it's seriously challenging Silicon Valley's dominance.
And you can see the major powers are all playing this new game with their own unique strategies. The US is leaning into a more protectionist, America-first kind of approach. Europe is all about regulation with its big AI Act, though getting it implemented has been bumpy. And then you have China, which is playing both sides. It's expanding its influence with open source models while also pouring money into building its own domestic computer chips.
So, with all this incredible progress and all this competition, where is the conversation about AI's future actually going? Well, the report suggests we're seeing a major shift in focus, away from all the sci-fi scenarios and toward much more grounded, practical problems we need to solve right now. To put it as simply as possible, the debate has shifted. For the past couple of years, all the headlines were about existential risk. The fear that AI could become a threat to humanity itself. That conversation is really starting to change.
We're moving into a new, much more pragmatic phase for AI safety. The whole end-of-the-world debate has cooled off, and it's given way to more immediate questions, like, can we actually make these systems reliable? How do we keep them safe from cyber attacks? And maybe the biggest question of all, how in the world do we govern systems that are becoming more and more autonomous, more capable of acting on their own?
So look, if you remember just 3 things from this year's report, make it these. First, the industrial era of AI is officially here. It's mainstream. Second, the key technological leap is all about reasoning, which lets AI actually plan and solve complex problems. And third, all of this has kicked off a brand new global race for who will dominate AI.
Which leaves us with the one big, forward-looking question that's really at the heart of this entire report. As these systems get more powerful, as they get more integrated into our lives and our economy, and as they get better at acting on their own, who is ultimately in control? That right there is the challenge that's going to define the next phase of this industrial AI revolution.